I wasn't eavesdropping. At least, that's what I kept telling myself later. I was just walking down the hallway, laundry basket on my hip, doing the 1,000 little chores that keep a house from collapsing. Olivia's door was cracked open, just enough for the blue glow of her laptop screen to spill into the hallway. I heard laughter, loud, carefree, teenage laughter. But then I heard my name. I froze. And then she wore that same sweater again. Like, does she not own anything else? That was Olivia's voice. My Olivia. My straight-A, soft-spoken, once sweet girl. Another burst of giggles, this time from her friends. Seriously? And that job of hers? So pathetic? My heart slammed against my ribs. For a second, I actually thought I misheard. That this wasn't real. That maybe she was reading something, quoting a meme, anything else. But then I heard her again, clear as day this time. She acts like she sacrifices so much. Like, congratulations, Mom, you worked late again. Want a trophy? The room spun. I wasn't prepared for that kind of hit. Not after the divorce. Not after spending 2 years trying to hold everything together with tape, prayers, and coffee. Not after telling myself Olivia understood, at least a little, how hard I was trying. I felt something twist inside me. A sharp, ugly mix of humiliation and heartbreak. The kind that makes you feel small. The kind that makes you remember every failure, every sacrifice, every moment you cried alone in your car after work so your kid wouldn't see. I didn't mean to gasp, but I did. Just loud enough. The laughter stopped. Olivia's chair creaked. Mom? I backed away before she could open the door, holding the laundry basket like a shield, praying she couldn't see the tears already burning their way down my face. I'd heard every word, and nothing would ever feel the same again. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard Olivia's laughter echoing through my head, sharp, careless, slicing straight through me. By morning, the hurt had hardened into something colder. Not anger exactly, more like a desperate attempt to take control of a situation that had already fractured me. When Olivia came downstairs, she acted like nothing had happened. Hair in a messy bun, backpack slung over her shoulder, scrolling on her phone without even glancing at me. That casual indifference was the final straw. We need to talk, I said. She looked up, startled. About what? I almost laughed. About what? As if she didn't know, but I kept my voice steady, too steady. Your allowance is gone, I said, and you're grounded. No going out, no friends over, no exceptions. Her jaw dropped. What? Why? The fact that she was willing to pretend, like she hadn't shredded my heart 12 hours earlier, made something inside me snap. I heard everything, Olivia. The color drained from her face. For a moment she just stood there, blinking rapidly, like a video buffering on bad Wi-Fi. Then she recovered, crossing her arms, lips tightening. You weren't supposed to listen, she muttered. The words stung more than the laughter. Not sorry, not, I didn't mean it. Just that I wasn't supposed to know. Well, I did, I said, and I'm done being your punchline. The silence that followed was thick and hostile. She stormed upstairs, slamming her door hard enough to rattle the picture frames. The house went quiet again, but not in a peaceful way, in the way that warns you a storm hasn't ended. It's only gathering strength. By the next morning, the house felt like a battlefield after the smoke settles. Quiet but charged with the memory of everything that had exploded the night before. Olivia didn't come downstairs for breakfast. I didn't call her. We were both avoiding each other, sealed off in our own wounded corners. I sat at the kitchen table, scrolling through work emails I barely understood anymore. My mind kept replaying her face, shocked, ashamed, defensive. And every time I tried to push the memory away, a fresh wave of guilt and anger clashed inside me. That's when the notification popped up. From Jonathan Reed, subject, request for a meeting regarding Olivia. My stomach dropped. Mr. Reed wasn't the kind of counselor who reached out lightly. He was the firm but kind type, the one who only emailed parents when he truly needed to. I opened it. "Mrs. Carter, I'd like to discuss some recent changes in Olivia's behavior. I believe it's important we speak as soon as possible." Changes in behavior? I didn't like the wording. Not at all. It sounded too serious, too deliberate, too worried. I booked a virtual meeting immediately. 10 minutes later, his face filled my laptop screen. Dark circles under his eyes, papers stacked behind him like he'd been working nonstop. "Thank you for meeting with me," he said. "I'm concerned about Olivia." Concerned. The word hit me harder than last night's heartbreak. He went on. "This isn't typical teenage frustration. Something shifted recently, drastically." I felt my pulse quicken. For a moment, all my anger dissolved into something sharper. Fear. "What are you saying?" I whispered. He hesitated, and that hesitation told me everything. Whatever was happening with Olivia, it went far deeper than one unmuted Zoom call. Mr. Reed folded his hands, choosing his words with the careful precision of someone who'd already rehearsed this conversation in his head. "Mrs. Carter, Olivia hasn't been herself. She's withdrawn in class. Her grades slipped almost overnight, and she's been spending time with two girls who tend to attract trouble." He clicked something off-screen and two school photos appeared beside him, Ava Mitchell and Brooke Harris. Perfect smiles, perfect hair, perfectly fake. The kind of girls who seemed to breathe social hierarchy. The kind who always had an audience and a reputation that followed them like perfume. I felt my jaw tighten. "I've never heard of them." "You wouldn't," he said gently. "They're new to Olivia's circle, but they're known for instigating drama. Rumors, pranks, social pressure, that sort of thing." A cold heaviness settled in my chest. Of course Olivia wouldn't tell me. Of course she'd hide new friends if she thought I'd worry, or if she knew I wouldn't approve. Mr. Reed continued. "We've seen this pattern before. Good students fall in with Ava and Brooke, and suddenly there's tension at home, secrecy, emotional volatility. They're not bad kids, but they have influence. Strong influence." I rubbed my forehead, trying to digest everything. "So you're saying Olivia's not acting out because of me?" The words slipped out before I could swallow them. He shook his head. "Not entirely. Something external is at play, something she hasn't talked about." External. The word lodged in my mind like a splinter. As the meeting ended, I stared at the blank laptop screen long after Mr. Reed disappeared. Two names echoed in my thoughts. Ava Mitchell. Brooke Harris. And with them came a sinking realization. The storm brewing inside my home might not have started with Olivia at all. That afternoon, I sat on the edge of my bed with my laptop open, replaying Mr. Reed's words over and over. Something external is at play. It kept echoing in my head like a warning I hadn't fully understood yet. I didn't want to pry. I didn't want to become the kind of parent who snoops. But something in my gut told me this wasn't normal teenage rebellion. Something was wrong. And then it happened. Pure chance. While grabbing a load of laundry from Olivia's room, her tablet buzzed on the desk. A notification flashed across the screen before I could look away. At Truth Teller 101 posted a new video. Olivia the Tryhard Episode 3. My heart stopped. A part of me knew I shouldn't tap it. But a bigger part of me, the scared mother, the desperate one, did. The video loaded instantly. It was Olivia, my daughter, but edited into something cruel and humiliating. The voiceover mocked the way she dressed, mimicked her laugh, exaggerated her insecurities. The camera zoomed in on her clothes, her smile, even the way she blinked. Every second felt like a slap, each frame dripping with malicious intent. A laugh track had been added. A laugh track. My hands shook so violently I had to set the tablet down. I felt sick, physically sick, knowing someone out there had taken the time to humiliate her so deliberately. No wonder she had changed. No wonder she had pulled away. No wonder last night's Zoom call had sounded so wrong. This wasn't rebellion. It was retaliation. A shield. a reaction to something deeper, darker, and far more personal. As I stared at the paused video, Olivia's frozen, distorted face staring back at me, one horrifying truth settled into place. My daughter was being bullied, and she'd been fighting it alone. I couldn't stop thinking about that unmuted Zoom call. Olivia's laughter, the biting words, every syllable burned in my memory. But that night, something inside me urged me to listen closer, to really pay attention to the rhythm, the tone, the pauses. Something was off. I asked Olivia to sit down with me after school. Her eyes were wary, defensive, brimming with silent accusation. I tried to steady my voice. "Olivia, about yesterday." I hesitated, gripping the edge of the table. "Were you mocking me?" She flinched. My words landed like a punch. "No! Mom, you don't understand." Her voice shook, quick and sharp. "I wasn't making fun of you. Her fingers fiddled with the sleeve of her hoodie. "I was reading stuff. From an account online. Someone's been posting videos about me. About everything I do." I blinked. "Videos? Yes! And the things I said yesterday?" I was trying to figure out who it was. My friends were helping me. We were trying to trace it, not laugh at you. My chest tightened. Relief mingled with guilt like poison. Every sarcastic word I'd imagined, every wound I'd nursed in silence. It wasn't real. "Oh, Olivia," I whispered. Tears welled in her eyes, mirrored in mine. The unmuted Zoom call wasn't betrayal. It was a cry for help. I'd punished her for a misinterpretation. Her friends, Ava and Brooke, had been guiding her, helping her decode the harassment, and I had assumed the worst. My anger had blinded me, and now I could see the truth. Olivia had been protecting herself, struggling alone, and I had almost made it worse. In that moment, guilt and sorrow collided with a new determination. I needed to make it right, and I couldn't waste another second. I couldn't stop pacing the kitchen that night. The house was quiet, too quiet, and every creak of the floorboards sounded like a reminder of my mistake. Olivia had retreated to her room, silent, eyes red from holding back tears or maybe anger, probably both. And all I could do was replay the scene over and over in my mind. The unmuted Zoom call, her laughter, the harsh words I thought were aimed at me. I had punished her for what? For trying to survive? For protecting herself? The guilt was suffocating. I felt it in my chest, in my throat, in the way my hands trembled when I tried to make dinner. Each utensil I picked up was heavier than the last. I couldn't even eat. I tried to imagine her perspective, reading those cruel videos, sharing the burden with her friends, laughing through it not at me, but at the absurdity and pain of it all. She had been brave, she had been strategic, and I had reacted, impulsively, harshly, blindly. My mind raced with all the ways I could fix it, but every option seemed inadequate. Apologies felt hollow. Words were weak. I wanted to shield her, to comfort her, to tell her I understood, but I hadn't earned that trust back yet. I sank into a chair, exhausted in body and spirit, staring at the blank walls of the kitchen. The thought hit me like a punch. I almost became the enemy in her story. And then, beneath the crushing guilt, a spark of resolve flared. I wouldn't let this ruin us. I wouldn't let my mistakes define our relationship. If I could find the truth behind what she was facing, maybe, just maybe, I could start to repair the damage I had caused. But first, I had to understand exactly what she had been up against. The next morning, I watched Olivia at her desk, her laptop open, fingers flying over the keyboard. She didn't look up when I entered the room. Her focus was absolute, almost feral. I hesitated, unsure if I should interrupt, but something compelled me to stay. "What are you working on?" I asked cautiously. She glanced up, her eyes sharp and guarded. "I'm tracking the account, Mom, seeing who's behind it." I felt a chill run down my spine. "And?" She hesitated, biting her lip, then turned the screen toward me. Lines of chat, timestamps, repeated phrases, and strange slang scrolled across the page. Something clicked. I leaned in closer. "Wait, that phrasing." I murmured. That's Madison Blake's style. Olivia's head snapped up, eyes wide. You noticed too? Madison, my ex-husband's new girlfriend. The woman who smiled like sunshine in photos but radiated manipulation wherever she walked. I'd suspected she had a knack for stirring tension, but this was personal. She posts videos, spreads rumors, and now she's targeting you online. It's exactly her MO, I said, voice trembling with a mix of fear and anger. Olivia nodded, her jaw tight. I knew something was off. The way she talks, the jokes she makes, the timing, it matches the account perfectly. She wants control. She wants to hurt me, and maybe even you. My heart thumped in my chest. I had underestimated Madison, underestimated the lengths she would go to insert herself into our lives, to manipulate, to intimidate. For the first time since the Zoom incident, fear and determination collided in me. Olivia wasn't alone anymore, but Madison wouldn't escape unchallenged. And I knew, with a sinking certainty, that exposing her wouldn't be easy. But it had to be done. We had no choice. The pieces fell together too quickly to ignore. As Olivia showed me more of her findings, the repeated phrases, the timing of the posts, the patterns of harassment, I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. Madison Blake, my ex-husband's girlfriend, the one who smiled sweetly at family events but whose ambition and cunning I had always sensed lurking beneath the surface. She's been doing this for a long time, I said, my voice low. Not just to you. Olivia's eyes narrowed. What do you mean? I leaned closer, showing her a string of old social media incidents I had quietly noticed, but never fully investigated. Teenagers targeted, rumors spread, friendships sabotaged. Madison had a pattern. She found someone vulnerable, used subtle cruelty to undermine them online, then positioned herself as the supportive adult in their lives. Every post, every sly comment, every manipulation, calculated. Olivia's face hardened. So she's done this before? And now it's me? Yes, I whispered. And it's personal. She's trying to insert herself into our lives while tearing us down behind the scenes. That account, the videos, it's all part of her plan. Anger flared in Olivia's eyes, mingling with the frustration she had held inside for months. We can't let her get away with this, she said. I nodded. I felt the weight of my earlier mistakes, my impatience, my anger, but now it was focused, sharp. We weren't just reacting anymore. We were preparing. Madison's game was cruel, manipulative, and calculated, but we had the advantage she didn't anticipate: truth, determination, and each other. For the first time in weeks, I felt a spark of hope. The path ahead would be dangerous, and the confrontation inevitable, but one thing was certain: Madison Blake would not win. Not this time, not us. The night before we confronted Madison, Olivia and I sat side by side at the kitchen table, laptops open, notebooks scattered like battle plans. The air between us was tense, charged with anticipation, but it wasn't anger this time. It was focus. I'm sorry, Mom, Olivia said quietly, her voice almost lost under the hum of the overhead light. For yesterday, for the punishment, for everything. I reached across the table, taking her hand. No, Liv, I should have trusted you. I should have listened before I assumed the worst. We shared a long, silent look, the kind that rebuilds trust word by word, breath by breath. It felt fragile, yet real. We weren't perfect, but we were united. Over the next few hours, we reviewed Madison's posts, timelines, and messages. Every detail Olivia had uncovered was a thread in a larger web of manipulation. We created a careful plan, documented evidence, screenshots, and a clear record of her harassment. This wasn't about revenge. It was about justice and reclaiming control over our lives. When the confrontation came, Madison was caught off guard. Her smug smile faltered as we presented the evidence. There were no theatrics, no shouting, just truth, organized and undeniable. She tried to twist the story, to gaslight us, but Olivia's composure and my determination were unshakable. The power dynamic had shifted. For once, she wasn't in control. Later, as we sat in the quiet of the house, Olivia rested her head on my shoulder. Thanks for believing me, she whispered. I hugged her tightly, feeling the tension dissolve. The trust we had almost lost was slowly returning. We were stronger together. And as I watched her finally laugh again, genuine and free, I realized the moral was clear. Understanding, patience, and unity could defeat manipulation. And sometimes, the greatest revenge is simply protecting those you love.